Hey, this is another screen capture video. I'm actually not using the blue microphone anymore. I'm using just the internal microphone, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know why I'm still having some issues with that, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about workflow. A lot of people talk about how do we actually make a bunch of videos. As you can see here, I just got done making a bunch of videos on Keynote because I had a bunch of people that needed to know how to do each part of it. So I tried to section it up as best I could, and I started with like how to add slides, and then how to format, and then I think 3 was like getting images from the internet and putting them into your presentation, and then I think we did animation, and then there was a last one I did was how to export it as a video file. So I knew kind of ahead of time what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to do it. I just hit record and kind of went at it. But as I'm going through this process, I realized that we don't do this very often. I don't do this very often, and I wanted to kind of show you what my workflow was and how I got started and how I did all this. So let's start over here on my desktop. I made two folders. Original footage, which I just named Keynote 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Tried to keep it simple. And then when I rendered those files or saved them in Final Cut Pro after editing them, I tried to take out the ums and the likes and the stupid things that I randomly said extemporaneously that don't make any sense or that weren't actually appropriate for the video. And then I saved them as what they actually were. So you can see that number 1 was saving, number 2 was formatting, number 3 was images, number 4 was animation, number 5 was exporting. It makes it easier for me to do. And then I can post those on YouTube wherever I want on my channel, and you can see them all here in order, and I can refer back to them later or link them wherever I need to go. The important part is being able to find your stuff, because when I save something, even if I save it to the desktop, it's going to end up over here in this mess. And if I go over to Mr. York Auto, that is the actual presentation that I'm working on in Keynote, which is not open right now. So that's what I was doing my work in to demonstrate what it was I was doing. And then at the end of it, I went ahead and rendered it as a video file, and so I added the word video here. So that's my whole desktop setup, and that works for me. If that works for you and that helps, then fantastic. You should try that too. I try to make sure that my original footage is named something completely different than my edited footage so I don't get confused, because a lot of these things are just going to go straight to the desktop and then you're going to put them in a folder wherever they belong. Once they're in the edited footage folder, then I can actually go and put them on YouTube. When I'm in Final Cut Pro, and that's kind of the point of this whole video, what I'm doing every time is I make the first project, and then when I'm done with it, and I've added, down here I've got my lower third, which is not great. I probably should have changed the face color of it. So if you look at it, let's just do that so you can see what it is I was trying to do. I usually try to put a brand on something. In this case, I've got my little copyright deal, which is fun, and I changed the font on it. But I didn't change the face of it, so let's change that just to see. Unfortunately, what we've got here is we've got a white background mostly, and if you look at the video, here, let me go through it. I think that it just kind of hangs off the side, which is not great. The reason it does that is because when you're screen recording, it's going to screen record in a different aspect ratio than our video normally is, right? So our video is normally 1080 by 1920, or I don't know, sometimes what I call 2K. And if you're looking at that 16 by 9 aspect ratio, this is not going to fill it. Now I could crop all of this so that it does fill it, but then I might lose something, and I chose not to do that. But as I'm playing this, you can see that it kind of sticks off to the side a little bit, and I've got it on that. It's also too big. I didn't really spend as much time on this as I probably should have if I was doing a professional version of this. But here's the deal. If I want to put this on my regular channel as well, what I want to do is I'm going to change basically every single one of these lower thirds so that it's my personal stuff instead, and then post it on a different YouTube channel. And because I've done it this way, it's real easy to come back and do. Now, you might be asking, why did I bother to keep all of these copies? Because that creates just a huge file. It's for ease of use and workflow, because if I do that, then I don't have to redo everything. So let me go through real quick exactly what it is I'm doing, and you guys can see the difference. And like I said, hopefully that'll help you out. So at the very beginning, you can see I've got, we always use Boogie Nights, that's just our brand, which is stupid, I know, because it comes with it. It's just a lame thing, but I think that's part of why we do it. And I've got the lower third down there. And what I said was I was going to try and see if it made a big difference if I changed the face of it from white to, say, something like red that shows up. immediately that
We're
looks
gonna
pretty
look at.
cool. And I can see it better, but it's still, I don't know. I feel like maybe I should have just stuck it over a little bit, and I probably should have made it smaller. So hindsight being what it is, I might do that. Let's take a look at cropping this and see what that does. Because if I was going to crop these videos, I'm going to have to, because I've already cut it up, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go crop each one. But it is possible to go in and let's see what crop looks like. It doesn't take off that much. I mean, I'm not losing that much, and then I don't have that aspect ratio problem. I could actually cut it down and frame that mostly, I think. There we go. And if I do that, then I don't have to worry about this being up higher or in the corner. And there we go. I can move it, put it down a little ways. Let's try that real quick and see what that looks like. There we go. There's my crop, so you can see the difference. But I could move this over here, and I also could shrink it down because the size of it is too big. Like for a lower third, I feel like it's just a lot. I don't really want to shout at you, hey, it's my video. You already know you're on my channel. I think it looks more professional to have something on it that kind of shows your brand. I don't want it to be so in the way that I don't want it to be distracting from everything else that you're watching. Obviously, you want to see the content. And if I see this big real quick, I mean, I feel like that looks like it's part of this, and I think that's really cool. And maybe that's what I'm going to do when I redo this for my channel. That's a good idea. All right, so let's get into, so that's the formatting of how I did this lower third and the aspect ratio, which I think I am going to change because it looks a lot better, doesn't it? I don't know. These are all things that you can decide on. All right, so workflow. What I did is I went to Keynote and I did my first project. I put in everything that I wanted, including like the fade out at the end, and you can see how many times I cut it. That's like every time that I screwed up or said something that I later decided was not what I wanted to do, as I'm stream of consciousness just recording this, no writing involved. And that's kind of, at least that's what happens when I do it. Maybe you're perfect and you write everything and then memorize it and then read it. That's another way to do it. Maybe you have everything on a teleprompter on another computer. I don't know. This is just what I'm doing right now because I had to get this done very fast.